Alright, what is up you guys? I'm here with the Hell in a Cell 2015 pay-per-view review. And this one won the vote along with 2009, which I'll be doing next week. So, Hell in a Cell 2015 was held October 25th, 2015 at the Staples Center in Los Angeles with a total attendance of 17,505. We had Cut the Cord as the theme song, which I actually kind of like that theme. And the pre-show match, we had Cesaro, Dolph Ziggler, and Neville versus King, Barrett, Rusev, and Sheamus. This was actually a pretty good six-man tag match. It lasted 11 minutes and 30 seconds. And, you know, for a pre-show match, this was very solid. I would give this 3 stars. Not too much to say about this one. So, let's get on to the main card. John Cena opens the pay-per-view with the United States Championship Open Challenge, which he had going for a while. And, of course, Zeb Coulter comes out, and you find out that his challenger is Alberto Del Rio. So it was cool to see him again. I'm an Alberto Del Rio fan. You know, I'm not, like, his biggest fan or anything like that, but I do like him. I think he brought a lot to the table when he was on the roster. So this match only lasted 7 minutes and 46 seconds, which is really short. And I'm kind of surprised they actually had him go over that quick. There were really no near falls. There were no, you know, false finishes. Like, this one was straight to the point. You know, you had Del Rio finish Cena off with the kick to, like, the kick to the chin, face. And, yeah, 7 minutes and 46 seconds for your new United States champion. They had a lot of good back and forth. It's just, I was shocked that it really didn't last that long. So, I would give it 2 1/4 out of 5. I think it could have went maybe a little bit longer, but I guess for timing, they decided to make it shorter. Then we had the segment with the Authority. You know, Seth Rollins and Kane was really being built up. You had Corporate Kane come out, basically kind of selling the, you know, he's not the Demon Kane thing. It's kind of like the Abyss TNA gimmick with Joseph Park. But, yeah, you had Seth Rollins saying, oh, I, you know, shouldn't have to defend the title and all that. And then you had Triple H and Stephanie there as well. And it was just, you know, really kind of a pointless segment. Alright, then we go to our first Hell in a Cell match of the night. Roman Reigns beating Bray Wyatt in 23 minutes and 3 seconds in a Hell in a Cell match. This was actually surprisingly good. You know, you had a lot of weapon spots. You had kendo sticks. You had a few table spots. You had Roman spear Bray Wyatt through a table, which was awesome. Really cool spot there. And like I said, they really tried to make this one kind of as brutal as possible while staying in the PG margin. You know, you had a lot of action outside the ring. And so this is a good chunk of the pay-per-view. You had 23 minutes. And the finish, we actually had Bray Wyatt put the kendo sticks on the turnbuckles, like underneath the pad that covers up the metal wire. And he had 2 of them. Roman ripped one off, started beating him with it, and then threw Bray Wyatt into the actual kendo stick, which looked like it hurt. It looked like it actually connected. And then he speared him for the finish. Overall, I give this match 4 stars. I really enjoyed this Hell in a Cell match. And I hadn't seen this one before, so it was surprisingly good for kind of what they were given. So, you know, kudos to them. I really enjoyed this 4-star Hell in a Cell match. And yeah, we had a lot of table spots, which was great. And it's not like they overdid the table spots or the kendo stick spots. They really timed it and positioned the weapons perfectly where they needed to. So, next up we had Kofi Kingston and Big E Langston, or just Big E, the New Day, versus the Dudley Boys in a tag team match for the tag team titles. This was a pretty solid match for only going 8 minutes and 24 seconds. Very fast-paced, very to the point. You know, a lot of these matches on here were really short. You kind of have to with 2 Hell in a Cell matches. But this one I'm going to give 2 1/4 out of 5. I enjoyed this for what it was. You know, you had the trombone spot at the end. And Kofi got the Trouble in Paradise to Bubba Ray. for the pin. So not too much to say there. You know, just a lot of good spots, some high spots, and you know, just kind of all around, just a fun, good quality match. Then we had Charlotte versus Nikki Bella for the Divas title. Another pretty good one. You know, this match lasted 10 minutes and 39 seconds. It was actually very hard-hitting, very stiff match. Charlotte was cut up on the bridge of the nose. She had a good moonsault counter. Basically, Nikki, you know, she was up top. They were both up top. And I've never seen this done before. You had a moonsault counter from Charlotte. And, you know, the way she did it was just so much differently than you'd normally see. And yeah, it just proves how good Charlotte really is. And I was never, honestly, the biggest Nikki Bella fan. So I guess you could say Charlotte kind of carried her through this. But Nikki Bella is a good worker. I'm not going to say she's bad or anything. But, you know, you can tell Charlotte's the better wrestler here. The better, just a better performer. And, you know, very good match. And then you had the figure 8, obviously, and Nikki Bella tapped out. So Charlotte retains the title in a 3 1/4 star match. I enjoyed this one. Then we had Dean and Roman backstage segment, kind of foreshadowing their Survivor Series match. You know, because at this time they were really focusing on, you know, their friendship, their brotherhood, because they were both faces at the time, while Seth Rollins was the heel champion. So overall, you know, good foreshadowing. So next up we had the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, as it was called at the time. Seth Rollins versus Kane. This was another surprisingly good match. You know, it only lasted 14 minutes and 36 seconds. But we had, you know, really good action here. We had a turnbuckle powerbomb, I guess what he calls it. But it was a powerbomb onto the announce table. Announce table tipped over. And, you know, we had a lot of kind of dirty wrestling, I guess you want to call it. And, you know, I give this match 3.5 stars out of 5. I enjoyed it for what it was. You had, you know, Kane, who's always a good worker, and then Seth Rollins, who in my opinion is one of the best workers. You know, this is one of those matches just to get you to the next pay-per-view. That's usually what Kane is at this point, sadly. But, you know, they put on a pretty good match. And then Seth Rollins pinned Kane to retain the title. Next up, we had the pre-show panel recap. It's kind of pointless to mention it, but yeah, it's there. They just kind of give you a recap of the night, like Booker T, Renee Young. So, and then after that, we had Kevin Owens versus Ryback for the IC title. This, you know, I'm not a Ryback fan personally, so, you know, Kevin Owens, the clear better worker here. But this match only lasted 5 minutes and 33 seconds, which is just, yeah, worthless at that point. I'd give this match 1.5 stars. It was nothing special, you know, it was just to kind of get the crowd ready for the next match. So, the main event, we had Brock Lesnar versus The Undertaker in a Hell in a Cell match. It lasted 18 minutes and 1 second, and this was a great match. And this is coming from me. I love their No Mercy 2002 match, which was not mentioned anywhere here, unfortunately. So, I don't really know which Hell in a Cell match I like better. I think they're both fantastic. But we had, you know, pretty much a grudge match. It was marketed as kind of the third chapter. You know, you had WrestleMania 30, SummerSlam, and now you have this. So this was marketed as the rubber match to end all matches. And they did say it's the final time they'll ever meet in the ring. So, you know, you had Undertaker, Brock inside the cell together. This was a very, it almost felt like a very Ruthless Aggression era match. I wouldn't say Attitude Era, I wouldn't go that far. But very Ruthless Aggression era. You had Brock Lesnar hit the turnbuckle. He very clearly, like, blocked it, but I'm not sure if it was a blade job or if it was hard way, but he started bleeding on the top of his head. I tried rewatching it. I can't tell if it's blade job or not. But when Undertaker gets busted open, you can very clearly see it's a blade job. He basically nicks the top of his head, and then I guess they made it look like Brock opened him up. So that's kind of a way to get away with it without actually blading. But me personally, I think he just, because he hit the cell, which used to draw blood in Hell in a Cell matches. So he hit the cell. You could see him kind of messing with his head a little bit, and then I think Brock opened him up a little bit more from what he did with the blade. And, you know, the backstage story with this match is that Vince McMahon was not a fan of it because of the blood and because they refused to get checked out by doctors during the match. In my opinion, if you're in Hell in a Cell, then you shouldn't be opening the door for medics, or you shouldn't have medics coming from under the ring or anywhere. It's Hell in a Cell. It's you, your opponent, and the referee. Don't have anyone coming in. It's supposed to be the most brutal match in WWE, but you can have doctors come in. Anyway, you had some great spots. You know, it was only 18 minutes, which was short for what you would think the main event Hell in a Cell match was, but I think it was perfectly paced, perfectly timed. You know, you had Brock Lesnar get opened up a second time because they got the steel steps out, and then Taker, pushed him back, kicked him back, and Brock was holding the steps, and the steps just completely fell on his head. I don't know if that was intentional as much as it was, or what. Like I said, this is a very hard-hitting match. And then you had, before that, Brock actually missed the Undertaker with the steps. He hit the mat pretty hard, which I assume was to put a hole in the mat so they could get it open without actually fucking around with like the straps and stuff like that. It's an easy way to get it open, basically. Just hit it with the steps. So, you know, Brock ripped the mat off, got the foam out, so it was just the boards. And you had some pretty good spots on the boards. You had actually a tombstone on the boards, which you would think is it, but it wasn't. They actually had Brock kick out of that, and the crowd went pretty nuts. The crowd was fantastic for this match. They were so into it, you could tell. And, you know, the whole time they were invested, which is great. So, the finish, you had Brock Lesnar give The Undertaker an F5 onto the boards. 1, 2, 3, goes for the pin, gets it, and he's the winner. I would give this match, personally, I'm going to give it 4.25 out of 5. You know, this was a fantastic match. It's one of my favorite Hell in a Cell matches, and it's my favorite PG era Hell in a Cell match, or modern era Hell in a Cell match. You know, it's up there with some of the best. I definitely think that. But after all this is said and done, they have like a thank you Taker chant going, you know, letting him get up in the ring and kind of have his moment. He goes to do his pose in the middle of the ring, and Bray Wyatt comes out with the rest of the Wyatt family. They basically just beat the hell out of him. People were chanting Kane. You know, I'm sure people expected Kane to come out, but he didn't. And they basically knocked him unconscious and carried him out. And that's the end of the pay-per-view. So if I were to give this show an overall rating, I'm going to give this show, it's tough, I'm going to give it a B. I enjoyed it a lot. This is, if you're going to watch one Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, definitely go watch this one. Fantastic pay-per-view. And for me, it was either a B+ or a B, but I'm going to go with a B. You did have some kind of filler matches in there, and some of the matches really did go kind of short for time. So, it's nice watching a 3-hour pay-per-view again. I'm tired of these 4 to 6 hour pay-per-views. So this one it's a real treat to go back and watch. So I will be doing 2009 next week. I hope you guys enjoyed. This has been the DVD Freak. Peace out.